Hello everybody, let's get my nifty Canon EOS RP to actually face focus instead of deciding the walls of face. Hope everyone's doing well. This is King Geekera here in the 3-attic control room. Thank you so much for joining us today. We just finished up with Mary Mitch to open us up as we do many mornings. He is our usual opener. Thank you, Remy Loner, for complimenting the drone shots. Yeah, I am a drone pilot, and during the Christmas break, my uncle wanted me to fly my drone over the forest in hopes of us finding a deer. No lie. We're hunting for one 12-point buck that's out there somewhere, and he can't find them. But yeah, thanks so much to Mary Mitch. It was a hilarious stream. My wife, it had me in stitches. He has been killing it lately. We love all of his reading he's been doing. Love that man. Super happy to have him on the network. We have people for you throughout the day today. We have me up next, Sir King Geekera. Rather than playing Hunt, since that was a glitchy mess that I was struggling to get running well, I'm going to be playing Hearts of Iron 4 for you. I've done this once or twice on this stream as Italy trying to do the new Roman Empire. This time, though, we are Communist Russia. We are the Soviet Union. We're going to be starting right off the top in January 1st, 1936. Super stoked. After me, we're going to have my boy Remy Loner and gang, which is probably going to include me, entertaining y'all for 4 straight hours from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Then we're going to have the Couch Soldier coming in hot from 8 to 10 with some Tarkov. And last but not least, Lube Cubes from 10 to midnight with either some New World Hearthstone or a little bit of both. He's had a bunch of fun intrigue in New World lately. It's been really interesting to see all the politics and how all of that plays out. It's been a great time. All right. So, let's get this up and running here. I already have the game running. We're going to take a second just to make sure we don't have any strange things occur like last time. I'm going to keep my task manager up to make sure I'm not redlining at any point, because that was a pain when playing Hunt. Thank you, Remy, for all of the new emotes and everything. He's been doing so much to help the network along. Shout out to all of our streamers who also come and hang out with us on stream and help contribute to the conversation. We always appreciate all of you viewers and everybody who drops a hey in the chat. So, like I said, we're going to be playing the Soviet Union. Good old Stalin. You know him, you love him. Not a controversial figure at all. Really just, universally appreciated for the broad good he did. Yeah, and so we're going to do Iron Man mode, which means that I cannot revert saves. Come on, Cam. Come on, camera. Why are you struggling? How about this? We're going to get it to find a good range, and we're just going to clip it into manual focus so we don't have to worry about it completely going off the rail. Alright, but yeah, we're going to be doing historic AI focus as well, which means that for the most part, major nations will hit their historical cues at roughly the time that you would expect them to, short of any diversions through actions you take. So Pearl Harbor is going to happen at roughly the same time. The Nazi incursion into Poland, the Nazi official declaration of war on the Allies, all these things in historical AI focus will happen in roughly the same time typically. We're going to go ahead and hit start and get this bad boy going. I am going to get some music pulled up for us real quick. Just to start it off, it seems kind of appropriate. Gotta get that Soviet national anthem in here. Super appropriate start. I honestly, this is enlightening for me. I've never heard the Soviet national anthem. It's inspiring. I can see how this really gets the people going. Fucking lit. Remy, it is spicy, but it is the spice I like. All systems are a go, not stressing any part of my system. GPU, RAM, nothing. Lovely. Lovely. Good old Moscow. You gotta love it. So, joking aside, that's enough of that. Let's find some more chill, appropriate music. Although, hey, it's always a fun experience to listen to other countries' national anthems, you know? Alright. The levels are looking good on my end. Everybody let me know in chat. Everything's sounding good, looking good. Otherwise, we're going to dive into this. So the Soviet Union is one of my favorite nations to play in Hearts of Iron. We're going to turn that music down a touch now that it's ramping up. There we go. So it's one of my favorites to play, A, because you figure out when you're doing these massive wars with people that one of your biggest inhibitors early on is always going to be, or later on, is always going to be recruitable population. Soviet Union, you will never have a problem with recruitable population. that is built into the schema. No issues there. The other thing that I really like about them is they have just about every resource you're ever going to need within their own borders. So you're not stuck in this place where you're having to build more and more consumer factories to just import the goods that you need to build your military infrastructure. And then last but not least, I love it because you are given a faction right up top that is very small but very easy to build. You essentially, just by flipping someone to communism, have a pretty high chance of getting them into your faction. Whereas if you are a democratic nation who's not trying to be in the Allies, if you flip anybody democratic, there's a high likelihood that they're going to join the Allies, and same with fascist nations. Like if you play Italy trying to do the new Roman Empire, as you flip nations fascist and attempt to pick them up into your faction, it's very likely that they're just going to join the Axis, which is a huge bummer. When you're the Comintern, it's Gucci, baby. You got no competition in the market. You just flip those countries commie, and they're all with you. So right off the bat, we're going to anticipate, rather than letting history run its course and agreeing with Germany to split Poland, we're going super aggro, baby. We're going right in there. We're going to take Poland very first thing as soon as we have the political power for it. Our research should focus on two things to start. The advancements to our military tech to help us in war efforts, because we're going to be at war from now until probably about 1941. 1936 to 1941, expect perpetual war. After that, though, we can do a lot more fun things. But for now, we're going to focus on getting more up-to-date infantry equipment. Infantry is the most important for the Soviet Union, especially in the early game, just because it's the most accessible to them. You just focus on making rifles, making artillery, and using your giant population to your advantage. We're good on our support companies for now. For armor, we want this next round, but we're not going to worry about it for now. We're going to jump straight to engineering, start electronic mechanical engineering. It increases our research speed, which is cool, but the more important thing is that knowing that we're going to be at war pretty soon, we want to go ahead and get radios up and running immediately. Those improvements to reinforcement rates and coordination really help right off the bat in taking down enemies, especially when you're doing what we're doing and declaring war in the first year. The more time you give Poland to get their shit together, the more actually formidable they can get. And I have played games where Poland just breaks history and doesn't get taken by the Soviets and the Nazis. Like, instead, they hold out long enough to join the Allies and get to maintain their sovereignty, which is nuts. So, over here, we definitely want to go ahead and get basic machine tools going, because we need to ramp up production of infantry equipment immediately. We need to have this done, like, yesterday. So, in this game, the infrastructure score of a settlement affects how quickly things are built there, so we're starting with just 80s and 60s. Yeah, and it also behooves you to kind of build away from your national front line, so that if a war starts going poorly over here on the Western Front, the chances of them taking all of your nice new military and civilian infrastructure you've built are relatively less. There's a lot of perks when you're playing Russia to kind of help you if you start to lose the war, like push back intensely. Imagine the Poles maintaining their sovereignty. Yes, yes, Emerald Herald. It's laughable to me, but one of the most rewarding games you can play in this is as Poland, because you get Wojciech the Bear. You can get Wojciech the Bear as an actual general, which makes everything about it worthwhile. Yeah, you're not going to win the whole game, like you're not going to get a higher score than the US or the UK, but you get a fucking bear from history as your playable general, and that makes it all the while. It makes it all worthwhile. So here in our production to start, like I said, we have huge needs to meet in infantry equipment and support equipment. We're starting out with almost nothing here. We need to reinforce. Okay, it doesn't start out as bad as I thought. Awesome. Yeah, they've made some changes to Soviet Union recently in this game that I'm still just catching up to. They have an entirely different skill tree, national focus tree than what I was used to before. They like really developed this national focus tree. Like, these are all individual things you have to research in lines of kind of like narrative and technology that you can undergo to accomplish various goals. Some of them maintain with historical accuracy. Some of them go off the rails and allow you to divert from history. For instance, there's stuff here like Stalin's 5-year plans. Those actually happen in history. Once you get the third 5-year plan underway, whenever you enter your first war against a major nation, it's shut out forever, because that's what happened. It gets disrupted. And you're kind of where you are. It's also worth a note that for Russia, all of the purges are included as one whole concise policy tree. And you do have to go through the Soviet purges, or with several of the mechanics, like, you'll never have the stability you need to maintain a working political and military structure. So there's a lot to juggle with the Soviet Union, but what you get in productive capacity, natural resources, and population makes it also worthwhile. Yeah, the purges. That's right. Get stoked. So we're going to go ahead and focus on infantry equipment. Let's see what we have going on with our basic infantry division. Okay, so they're not rocking support equipment to start, but they are rocking support artillery. Unfortunately, we can't really make the choice to go ahead and pop any other units, like to help with entrenchment and stuff on them, because we A, don't have the army experience to modify our units yet, but B, we need to go ahead and in production start building up a stockpile of support equipment, because whenever we switch the units over, the eventual goal is that all of our units already in the field have them too. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a bunch of extra on artillery. We need tanks pretty badly, and we'll always need tanks as Russia. They don't have many great tank generals after the purges, and that kind of hurts you in maintaining working tanks. So we're going to maintain 3 here, 3 here. We will need these planes, so we're going to maintain these factories on the planes. Here are all of our boats. An amateur mistake whenever you are playing Russia is not setting where your boats are going. Because anybody who has played Russia in this game knows that one of the default locations is the Black Sea here with Crimea. And because Turkey is not allied with you, you do not have access through the Bosphorus Straits here when you start the game. So if you do not set your navy to deploy to Leningrad, you're kind of screwed because you just have a bunch of boats sitting around that would be super helpful later on for like trying to invade the UK that you just can't access. So we're going to set Leningrad as the drop location of all of these. Sorry the game doesn't look as good as it would in other settings after the experience with Hunt Showdown and how glitchy and potatoey it was last week. I've opted to go to nerf all aesthetic appeal and just make sure that everything runs smoothly. Can't wait. I have glasses on the way, and I'm super excited to stream, or contacts on the way, and I'm super excited to stream without reflections from my lighting in my glasses and my monitors. All right, so for national policy focus, like I said, you have to do the purges. There is no way to not do the purges. You pretty quickly get a political intrigue meter as Russia, and as political intrigue increases, your stability as a nation decreases. So, and your stability starting off is garbage, 28% stability. You can see all of the debuffs that you get as a result of that instability. It's also worth a note that initially the Comintern is not at all interested in war. And this is an accurate reflection of historically where they were at around this time. Because people still had fresh in their mind World War I, how many men were lost on the Eastern Front against the Kaisermacht. And they did not want to re-enter that. Like a big reason why the Bolshevik Revolution happens and the Tsars are overthrown is the discontent regarding the war and famine at home due to provisions going to the front. So initially, 1936, they were not trying to go to war with anybody. They were trying to get their shit together at home. With that in mind, we need to ready up stability first and foremost. So we're going to look ahead here. As much as I would like to do the things that increase our industrial capacity right off the top, we need to focus on 2 major trees to start. First, we're going to focus on this whole region here, but more importantly, the Purge tree, because there are several perks here up top. Game-based stability, 5%. Game-based stability, 5%. And then over here, addressing internal affairs. Game-based stability, 10%. Huge. Let's see, there's another one here somewhere. Yeah, the new Soviet woman. Game-based stability, 10%. The Soviets were really forward-thinking in terms of actually involving women in hard. Well, I wouldn't say they're very forward-thinking, but in some surprising ways, they had some progressive policies to enable women to serve in the military and in the government. So yeah, we're going to focus on the path of Marxist-Leninism here. For production of troops, we're going to go ahead and get 24 coming out at a time. Initially, when you start the game, generals can only handle 24 units in their army. So we're going to go ahead and get a full army, or 24 units per army when the generals are in it, and then you group those armies of 5 into army groups. So we have those on the way. We can't yet start making tanks. We need to get a little bit more of a surplus and make sure that the tanks that we have available are shored up. So we're just going to focus on infantry there. And actually, let's go ahead and set a location here in the Far East. we're going to have these guys deploying to Minsk. And now we're going to sort our army. I love History Bean. You will automatically get some passively as I go, as I think of things to yammer on about, and historical events will occur on screen. I will pause the game and take the time to read them as we go. So as I sort everything here, you have a ton of units when you're starting off as Russia, or Soviet Union. So I took all my regular infantry, put them here. You have 73 units of infantry to start. Now I'm taking all this cavalry. Cavalry is the most useless thing in the world. It's only useful for scouting, so you don't need many divisions of it necessarily. And they get torn apart. Like, cavalry was torn apart in World War I. Like, it only took a few months of the Western Front developing in World War I for people to realize that the idea of the gilded, feathered fucking French cavalry was long gone, because with machine guns, they just get torn to pieces. So we're going to change all these to regular infantry. We have more than enough manpower for it. We do not have the infantry equipment for it. So this is why we're trying to do towed artillery and infantry equipment, is to reinforce these units that we're switching over. We're going to go ahead and lump them with the rest of the infantry here. Next we're going to do NKVD. These are essentially our National Guard units, our secret police. We're going to give them a whole different theater and just name it NKVD. And they're hanging out over there. We just deploy them to places where we are worried about borders being infiltrated. We're worried about wars breaking out, and we need units to just hold the line long enough for us to get armies there. Next, we're going to take all of our special forces, which in this case are all just mountain units. These are kind of your alpine specialists who are great for taking into battle in mountainous regions. We can still group them with regular infantry, but it's nice to just set them aside. Last but not least, this is all of our armor. So we're going to set them as a unique unit, and I always like to put my armor at the very front to make it super easy within the army groups to designate commands. Alright, and for these we're just going to use our hotkey S to split in half, and it gives us a nice 47 and 48. Then we're going to split in half again, do it again, and that gives us our perfect 24s. Save this guy. Because it is best to go ahead and start deploying your special unit forces like in your earliest battles, I'm going to go ahead and split off 11 of these to regular infantry to include in my unit that has all my special forces. So now we have an army that's half special forces, half regular infantry, and this unit here that's being developed. Like I said, you can group 5 armies into an army group. And that leaves one of our armies hanging out here. I am going to do something unique here though, and go ahead and detach our armor and have our armor riding in a separate army. These guys are almost going to be like our hammerhead. We're going to be able to position them at a point along the lines that these regular infantry are reinforcing otherwise. Actually, yeah, let's do one more move here. Let's put our regular infantry unit there and bring our infantry with our special forces here. So like I said, it's armor and special forces with the intent of breaking through in one spot and getting behind lines and just mad dashing for the objective. The capital, the new extended borders where you're trying to press, whatever that may be. Now we're going to go ahead and throw our command structure in place here. So this is one of my favorites. It's hard not to lose him in the midst of the purges, but god damn, he's a great field marshal to start. Go ahead and put our other field marshal in place. It's so frustrating because in the past you kind of knew exactly, you had the options to pick who was purged and who wasn't. Now it gets way more difficult just because the purges work on a more random level, which reflects history. Like, they were purges. It wasn't a comfy, like, obvious who were traitors and who wasn't. no one knew who was sided with Trotsky and who wasn't. So people definitely died who were not at all involved in the Trotskyist plots. So right off the top, I'm gonna go and find our armor and throw Zukov over top of him. He's by far the best armor general in the game, one of the best in general. So he's the general of our armor units. We're gonna go ahead and put a great general. This guy has an armor buffer, but we're not gonna have another army for armor for a minute. So we're just gonna go ahead and put him in charge of our special forces. Then all of these guys are just straight up infantry. I'm gonna do my best to just find people with the infantry badge already built in, kind of in the middling slots, and that way we're kind of saving the rest of our armor high level generals for when we do start getting more armor armies. Armor armies. As the Soviet Union, you start out with a ton of generals with the anticipation that you're going to lose about half of them over the purges. But this looks great for now. We're going to go ahead and assign them all to the border of Poland here. Like I said, this army group with the armor and with our special forces being a hammerhead is going to go right here, down at the very southern border where you have a pretty clear shot without many mountains or rivers to just sweep up here. Each different little territory that you see has special traits to it that greatly affect the way certain units can move and operate in them. And this is just the best place to drop your armor to just pierce through and run their pockets behind their lines before they know what happens. So we're going to go ahead and assign our main infantry army to just come through and push the Polish borders all the way back. Super simple for them. Whereas for the head of the spear, we're going to have them just up here. This pincer, this crossing, is oftentimes a really effective way to build your battle strategies. In this game, it gets kind of rewarded. It makes the enemy armies really have to decide whether they're going to reinforce their southern flank or their northern flank. It makes them have to guard the ends, and then it also makes the middle more susceptible as a result. So we have all of them in place. Let's go ahead and get a general set in charge of the NKVD. Since, like I said, they're National Guards, we're going to go just all the way to the bottom. We're going to get Vasily Choykov. And the most dangerous place off of the Western Front initially is always Japan. So we're just going to position them over here around Manchukuo. It is worth a note that it's always better to refer to that area as Manchukuo than something like Manchuria, because of the colonial overtones to the term. Manchuria was assigned as the name to the region by the Japanese once they established their war goals on the continent. And the Second Sino-Japanese War was underway well before the events of 1939 and the establishment of the Trilateral Pact? Can't remember the name. Something like that. Japan, Italy, Nazi Germany. So we already have that importing. Before we get everything going, we are almost ready to hit play. Just checking out our Navy situation. We have a couple units over here in Vladivostok. It's fine to keep them there. Over time, we'll want to build a Pacific Navy. This is our Black Sea Navy. It is fine as is. It's not worth putting any boats out without there actually being a conflict occurring, because it's just wasting oil. Um, and you do not as much as the Soviets, but like in general, you really have to pay attention to your oil consumption in this game because it will run out when you're not watching it and start affecting all of your operations. So yeah, we essentially have two major fleets available over here in the Pacific and North Seas. We're gonna go ahead and combine them both to hang out here in Leningrad. Um, because our battle fleet here at the front, that's supposed to be our strike force, is so weak, it doesn't have enough flag vessels around it to help take torpedoes. We're just going to combine our destroyers and such from the North Sea Army into that. And then we're going to combine the submarines into the submarine army in the Baltic as well. For the most part in this game, you don't have to much worry about incursions in the Barents Sea. I have seen occasions where you're going to war with the Axis and the Italians manage to pull off a naval invasion here in northern Scandinavia, but like it's not a super common occurrence. Instead, you really just have to focus on the Baltic Sea. If you can lock this down in wartime, you're pretty safe as Russia. Leningrad's your principal naval target. It's kind of the blessing and the curse of the Soviet Union being kind of landlocked on its main western side. All right. So our Navy is going to be good. We'll go ahead and assign some naval generals. As always, they're probably going to disappear, but we're just going to put them on there. In the Black Sea, we'll go ahead and get one of our lower generals in the Black Sea because it gets no action, and we'll put him over in the Pacific Fleet. Last but not least, planes! Whenever you start the game, you should always look and figure out where your Air Force is. I've played Russia, or I've played the Soviet Union several times now, just not much since the rehash. So I know where they are. We're going to bring these guys, and I'll drop them here in this airport with 1,600 capacity. Just glance around and make sure I'm not forgetting anybody, but I think that's it. And then we're going to take all these planes here. Come on. What are you doing? There it is. We're going to deselect our seaplanes, which we'll keep up here at our naval ports. But then we're going to bring everything else into this airport to get ready for this juicy war. All right, and now we're running, baby. Full speed. This song's a bop. Yeah, my computer is handling this just fine, even at full sim speed. This game starts off super freaking lightweight, but as you go along, and more units are brought into the game, more planes, trains, ships, automobiles, things will slowly start to require more computing capability. So yeah, right now the two things that we're watching is our political power gain. As soon as we hit, I believe it's 50. Let's double check that. As soon as we hit 50, we can justify a war goal against, 50 political power, we can justify a war goal against Poland and get that going, and then we have to wait the better part of a year in-game to actually go to war. But that is just fine because that gives our military-industrial complex time to make up this deficit in infantry equipment and tanks that we have, as well as artillery. It's best to have your units very well stocked up on the lines. Russia and the Soviet Union have historically had equipment availability be the bane of their military existence. So we're going to avoid that. The other thing that we're going to avoid that the Soviets kind of messed up is assuming war isn't coming. We know in history now that the Soviets are uh, going to go to war with us, so we're not going to sign any pacts with them. We're not going to sign any research agreements. We're not going to do anything like that. We're going to go ahead and go straight for addressing internal affairs so that we can get that stability buff. And then we have our decisions that can be made here. These include all kinds of things. As we go through the game, I'll highlight things we got going, but there's propaganda efforts where with the political power you can start war propaganda to get your war support up. And then these are all basic political actions that are available to all countries in this game. Promises of peace, like where you gain stability at a higher rate, but war support goes down. Fuck that, we don't want that. Ban these different things, which lowers the political party activities for subversive parties. As you can see in our case, like, we have a Trotsky party separate from the Communist Party. It labels them as democratic. Trotskyism is arguably a more democratic form of communism, but big disservice to just lump it in and say they are a democratic regime. But I guess it would be weird for one country to have like two different communist party tickers. Emerald Herald. Yeah, you need a big PP to start a war. In this game, you don't get to just say, I go war with you now. You have to provide a reason for it. You have to actually justify your war goals. In this case, we're going to be justifying to conquer Waleshka. Right up here. It's going to cost us 48 political power and take 240 days to do. So that is underway. You can see it gives you an expected finish date. It's going to be November 8th, 1936. So keep that date on your calendar, folks. November 8th, 1936. You can see the date ticker up here. So that's when we're going to be able to pop off on a war thing. So the Spanish Civil War has popped off. I think I just arbitrarily clicked through the historical event. My apologies, everybody. We're going to go ahead and do the New Soviet Woman to gain another big stability boost. And while we are waiting for our units to resupply and go to war, we're going to do two things. One, this game is impossible if you let the US join the Allies. So we're going to start right now creating the communist utopia in the US that I've always dreamed of. Start boosting party popularity there. From the start, you only have 1% communist. The goal is that by the time the November 1940 elections roll around, they are at least 50% communist, so that we can flip the nation for communist and they never join the Allies. Don't really care if they join the Comintern itself, because I like to beat them down in the end anyway. But I at least want them to not join the Allies. The other thing that we're going to do is we want Republican Spain to win. The Spanish Civil War is super fascinating. This is another place where the game kind of oversimplifies it. They say that they are communist. They're more anarchist. Like, it was largely anarchist groups that were participating on the left. But, you know, decent amount of Marxists and socialists there too. And we want them to win, though. Since they are communists, there's a high chance that after they lose the Recovering from Civil War international debuff, they will join the Comintern, and having them with their huge population and great location is super important. So right off the top, we're going to do a non-aggression pact with them. It takes a second to give you an opportunity to do another diplomatic action. And we are going to send volunteers. We're allowed to send them 6, which is a pretty solid number for sending a volunteer army. So we're going to give them the creme de la creme. We're going to give them special forces, 3 units. We're going to give them armor, 3 units. And we're going to give them our most leveled armor here, experience level 3 regulars. We're throwing those into a separate army. And we're giving them a good general with armor experience. We have them hanging out here so that we can then send volunteers. Konstantin Rakovsky, you're going, buddy. Go beat those fucking fascists. Alright, so they're on the way. We're boosting party popularity in America. So we can make them the communist states of America. A Finnish date. I thought you were Russian. This man, Remy Loner, American humorist with the hot fire. Joseph Stalin, angered by Polish posturing. As you go through the game, you'll get kind of news headlines. Yeah, I gotta start reading these things. Sorry, I'm so used to this being my game that I play in private. I don't stream it very often. I gotta start reading these things to you, letting you experience the world. Alright. Volunteer forces have arrived and are ready to fight in Valencia, Spain. Lovely. So when you send volunteer forces, it throws them into this separate theater. Where are we at? Alright, yeah, Valencia, Spain. There you go. So, initially, there are a couple of major pockets you want to free up. First, we can see that they're struggling. The anarchists are struggling here to the south. We want to go ahead and get down here, focus everything to a fine point on this border, and we want to plow through all of this to open that area up and allow them in. Yeah, it's never good when you see a group get surrounded by like this. It's good that they have a port so they could get in and out. They can extract if they need to, but we're going to go free them. So they're going to ride down here. This song's a bop. Boom, boom. Alright. Yosef. I love how they've changed it to Yosef. Yosef Stalin, concerned about factionalism. In a recent session of the Central Committee, Comrade Yosef Stalin noted the growing factionalism inside the party, while all members of the committee were quick to assure him of their full and unconditional support. This has apparently done very little to ease his concerns. According to Comrade Yosef Stalin, we must always be vigilant for saboteurs and wreckers who plot against the state, in whatever position they may be. This news comes as a bit of a surprise to many in the party who believed that the threat of a party split ended with Trotsky's exile. So the paranoia system is now active. It unlocks political paranoia decisions. Joseph Stalin gains political paranoia. Ideological drift defense goes up by 10%. But weekly paranoia increases by 1 weekly. Political advisors with the trait head of the NKVD will increase political paranoia weekly. Is there really anything to his worries? Yes, there is. Trotsky coming for you. That introduces this political paranoia system where it goes up a certain percentage weekly. And you have to take actions that will be listed here to keep it low, lest the stability of your nation erode quickly. We're not going to utilize that for now, but we are going to keep the alerts on for it so that we know to come back and check it occasionally. Clear that notification. Our units are arriving here at the front and they are engaging. Once again, we're trying to clear the way here for these trapped anarchist communist units to be able to move freely across the line. And it's totally working. We successfully opened up a gate. So now our second strategic goal is going to be to take away this port. The sooner you can take away nationalist Spain's access to the world outside of their borders, the better. One of the big reasons nationalist Spain won in the Civil War in the first place is that the Nazi Party was willing to come in with very real material support from the very outbreak of the conflict in supporting them, whereas the Soviets kind of kowtowed. There were some ideological differences between them and the leftist factions, and they just really were hesitant to actually send any material support. Finally, they did, a little too late, to no avail, and Franco, of course, won and led to a huge period of regression in nationalist Spain. Protect your neck. More like King Kikwara. Am I right? Yes, yes. You best protect your neck. Wu-Tang forever. Wu-Tang is for the children. Okay, so we successfully did it. We drove them off of that point, and we're actually going to go ahead and take Sevilla as a major strategic point and extend the battlefront from that port to make sure they don't take it back. We do need to limit our battle line, though. It will keep trying to stretch as you take territory. With an army this small, you really want to keep it concise so that you're like a proper hammerhead. Alright, so yeah, we are easily winning. One of the things about the Spanish Civil War is neither side were the best equipped. The Nationalists were definitely better equipped, given they had the actual army's support, as well as the Nazis providing munitions and accessory bombing runs. Like the Luftwaffe was very instrumental in Franco coming to power. They even experimented with some of their earliest chemical ordinances in the Spanish Civil War on the Spanish left. So now we are leaving the south, coming all the way to the north, and our goal now is to get this little pocket of fighters out of here, to open up this whole front so that we are encompassing them across this whole side. Just take away this whole border with France so that both sides can meet here. Otherwise, if they have to retreat, it is a huge pain in the ass. Because they have to hit these ports and they have to come all the way back around down here to the south. It's a little easier now that this port has been freed up. We're also going to go ahead and come into our officers' corps. Actually, no, not yet. No, we don't need military stuff. We need more stability. So we're going to elect Mikhail Kalinin, popular figurehead, to gain that incredible plus 15% base stability. You love it when you see it. We're then going to go ahead and come into our national focuses. We're going to start the quest line for the center so that we can get the purges started. Let's check our paranoia. We're sitting pretty. 8%, no buffs yet. Check on our units here. They have arrived at the northern front. They are only facing one unit of resistance, so hopefully we're going to cut through this mountain range like butter. Our armor units really don't like the terrain, but as long as there's really low resistance, it shouldn't be a big problem. But once we clear these mountains and relieve these guys in the middle, kind of reunify the front, our next goal is just following the coast of the fascist territory and relieving them of all of their ports so they can no longer receive Nazi materials. And like I said, you got to keep watching the line and readjusting it as you go. As you take territory, it'll just keep trying to shift on you. We're trying to make a very pointed, concerted attack. So just avoid that. Like what this guy's doing, don't really want. but he's pretty well on his way already to winning this battle and claiming this territory, so that's fine. We'll just let him finish that. But afterwards, he needs to get back on the objective. Let's check my paranoia, me going anywhere in public. Am I right? Yep. Yeah. Used to have huge paranoia problems, and hopefully it is leaving me now. So what I just did, I started researching our construction. In this game, industry has two major trees. You have concentrated industry and dispersed. I prefer the breakdown for dispersed. Personally, I think the juice is more worth the squeeze, especially playing with a big sprawling nation like the Soviets. We have our radio researching, which is going to be really helpful in our upcoming war against the Poles. Our infantry is all up to date, given that it is still 1936. We don't want to take any of the research hits while we only have 3 research slots. Armor. Let's go ahead and get our armor up to 1936 standards, because the Great War armor you start with is pretty hot trash. Alright, so we got the center going. That is good to go. So we're going to do one more focus over in this region for now, and that's going to be the Stalin Constitution. The Constitution of 1924 was a good attempt at organizing a state following the Civil War, but has served its purpose. A new constitution is needed. Primarily, we must acknowledge the tireless work of Comrade Stalin in keeping the Union strong and safe, and whose genius and wisdom has been instrumental in leading the cause of communism forward. Modify the Politburo by ideological drift. Defense 5%. Political power gain 5%. Political power plus 50. Gain base stability plus 5%. And political paranoia decrease by -10. So that should reset our political paranoia, our PP, back down to 0. So we'll have 0 PP. Okay, nah, still 6. That's fine. No big. Yes, Fescurious. It is just menus. This game is mostly menus. It's war maps and menus, and oh my god, it scratches every part of that side of my brain so nice. Just so nice. Now that they have landed there, we're just going to tell them to hotline it right to this spot. Attack there. Don't divert. Don't, focus on your battle plans. No, just get me that hill. God damn it. Yeah, here in these overlays, you can see we have our battle theaters. We have our armies in each theater down here. Alright, the Treaty of Addis Ababa. Italy took one state. This is regarding the Ethiopian-Italian War. Fun fact, Italy had tried to go in and beat Ethiopia before, and got their ass kicked by a really kick-ass African king. I can't remember his name offhand, but he is a huge inspiration for Rasta culture. That's a good question. More here or in RimWorld? It's really hard to tell. So Ethiopia has capitulated. This is accurate to history. Ethiopia didn't stand much of a chance the second time around. But it's worth a note that Italy were complete assholes and utilized chemical warfare like white phosphorus in the taking of the country. So it was pretty unfair strats. The Ethiopian government has gone into exile, and their main forces have capitulated to Italy, who is now in control of their home area. Although the struggles between Italy and Ethiopia are over, Italy is still at all-out war, and the fighting continues elsewhere. Uncertain times. So, here in the Spanish Civil War, we are doing good work for them. The Soviets coming in and helping them essentially from the start, rather than letting them die on the vine. Until they sent a penance of volunteers. Uh-oh, and perfect timing, because it looks like they're really starting to struggle up here. We're showing up just in time to relieve this pocket of resistance. It's only a matter of if the Spanish socialists can move in time to actually plug this hole. Wow. Um, and yeah, they are really trying hard. They are making sure that we don't take this spot because they understand the strategic importance of us breaking this discontinuity, especially as they are losing access to these ports. We could lose this pocket before we actually get there, which would be incredibly unfortunate. They are starting to surround us a bit. They're very aware of our presence. Come on, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it, God. Every time they move somebody else in place just in time to force a defense, our units are having to go on the retreat. Yeah, the struggle is real. Usually, I can get through this area pretty quick, but they are really trying to make sure, yeah, like this. Like, I should just pop in and take it. I don't know why we are winning the battle, and then it's sitting there despite my units being ready to move in. It's really starting to piss me off. It feels almost like a glitch, because this is not supposed to be what happens. Maybe they are just able to rotate in and out just that quickly. Yeah, let's hit both of them at once, and hopefully in between the two, one of them will give, but we have to do something to get to these guys before they lose all that territory. There we go, there we go, we're taking that. We're taking that. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to scrap all of our currently existing plans for these guys. And we are going to go ahead and move them up to here. And we're going to tell them to clear the coast all the way here. No, 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 no. Alright, let them get in place, and then we're going to give them an express order to clear the coast through Bilboa to connect this section of Oviedo. Alright, so everybody's in place, and now we're just going to give the order to run straight up the coast. It's going to take a second for them to get their organization together and everything, but they're on the move. I was about to say, I don't know why the Spanish aren't giving a defensive battle right now. Hydrate! Glug, 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 glug. Whoo! I needed that. I needed that. Thank you, Remy. Thank you kindly. Joseph Stalin, angered by Polish posturing. Those naive citizens of Soviet Union who imagine the Polish as a people of peace are entirely out of touch with reality. Those who live at our border do not have the luxury of such delusions, seeing their troops closing in on us just across it. This is a threat we cannot leave unanswered. With every passing day, Poland is preparing for war. It would be madness for us not to do the same. The Polish military presence close to our territory has sparked increased concern as this nation appears more and more to be the enemy of the VKPB. Whether it is the cause or the effect of their polemic is a matter of contention. Regardless, we must be ready. Regardless, we must ready the people for war. So remember that, guys, November 8th. So we still have some time to help out down here before we have to go spank the Poles. But we're also, in anticipation of our next goal after the Polish, going to go ahead and start a war goal against the Czechoslovakians. So my plan is to, piece by piece, take away all of the pieces that in history the Soviet Union needed, or the German Reich needed to build their war machine. So if I can take Poland, if I could take Czechoslovakia, and if I could take Austria before the Anschluss, we are taking away a huge chunk of their industrial and population base that was very necessary in history for them to wage such an effective war against the Allies. So that is our goal, as quickly as possible, getting wars substantiated, war goals substantiated, and taking down these three building pieces for the Nazis. Because fuck fascists. Back to our Spanish War, where we're also fighting fascists. It is going swimmingly. I think we're going to clear Bilbao here in just a sec. Stalin Constitution is complete. Thanks to everybody who is joining us. I am King Geekred. This is the 3 Addict Network. We put together a whole collection of kick-ass streamers and entertain y'all for 12 hours a day, 3 days a week. If you like me, check out my personal channel as well. I don't do as much on there since I stay pretty busy putting together the network stuff. But all of y'all's support is super appreciated. We have so many awesome streamers. Love all of those guys. Check them out, and if you find somebody, show some love. So, let's see. We have enough to get a military personnel in place, and that may be appropriate given that we are about to go to war. So we have army regrouping amongst our general military high command. And then we also have army drilling, maneuver, defense, and reform for our army command. I'm a big fan of maneuver, especially since we're going to be fighting the Nazis at some point. The extra maneuverability is super important to be able to counter something like Blitzkrieg, where you need your units to be able to move up and down the line quickly enough to successfully counteract their attempts at creating bulges and bubbles in your line. So we're going to go ahead and hit it with the army maneuver. It should help us just as well in taking down the Polish. Let's clear through this real quick. Joseph Stalin questions Polish sovereignty. Quote, "Who determines the border of a nation and how are they determined? Whatever way people may have found in the past to justify where Soviet Union ends and Poland begins, we live in a new era. The strategic importance of this border cannot be overstated, and we are well within our rights to shift it to ensure the continued security of our people. Listening to Joseph Stalin's recent speeches, an invasion of Poland appears imminent. Dissenting voices have objected, but public support for war is on the rise." Not by much, though. We started at a measly 38% war support. We're up to 42. That is progress. We must rally behind this cause! Awesome. Alright, so national focus-wise, we are at this tipping point. We have the necessary stability we need for our industry and for our politics to work correctly. Creating bulges. I see you shiver with anticipation. We're going to do a big pivot here and knock out, before we get started with our purges, some of our awesome, necessary state building stuff. Namely, we're going to try to get down here into the 5-year plan and clear through the third 5-year plan and clear through as much of these goodies as we can. Because once we enter a war with a major nation, we will be completely locked out of that aspect of the tree. So we're going to start with heavy industry. While our industrialization projects continue to gain speed, the time has come to shift towards a bigger emphasis on heavy industry in preparation for producing more war materials. I agree, dog. This is going to build in Abkhazia. It gives it a building slot and fills it with a civilian factory, and then Ashgabat does the same. So we're going to get that going. We're in a good place, and we're just going to keep riding out this civil war in Spain until November 8th. At that point, you cannot keep expeditionary units out in the field while... Perfect. We just took Bilbao. And we're going to continue running out here towards Oviedo with the hope of relieving this line. And it looks like the Spanish are doing some good and really weird work in trying to surround this entire bubble of fascists by connecting here to Madrid. So interesting. I've never seen that play like that in all the times that I've helped out in the Spanish Civil War. But... it's a weird war. People never talk about it. It's one of the more formative and unique wars that no one ever brings up. Kind of similar to the Russo-Japanese War that happens after the Civil War, but before World War One. That was really one of the first glimpses that the world got at what war was going to be like in the very near future. Very deadly affair. And it did surprise the shit out of everybody that Japan spanked a Western power. Like they made Russia's Navy especially just look foolish. So, we're struggling here. Like I said, mountains are not the friend of tanks. And our Alpine units are just not getting the work done that we would expect of them. Oh, we don't... Oh, I know why. It's because we don't have a battle plan set here, so we need to clear this range. Activate battle plan. Get that going. That's why. I was like, what the hell is happening here? Heavy industry finished, radio finished just in time as we are drawing into the fall in our war with Poland. Thank you all for joining me. This is the Soviet Union. Some bitch! It took Bilbao. Okay, so let's just clear this spot. There we go. Come on. No, 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 no. We do not want to get stuck here. You are clearing this out. Oh no. Oh no, this is not going as well as I'd hoped. Yeah, what happened, guys? Making me look foolish out here. Okay, well, if I'm stuck in this pocket for now and they just don't have the units up here to get it done, then what I'm going to do is go ahead and clear out this whole acorn. I probably am not going to have time before my expeditionary forces are called back, or my volunteer forces are called back going into this war with Poland, but we will do what we can. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and continue down this line. Infrastructure effort. The Soviet Union is vast but mostly empty. Yes. We must ensure the ability to transport goods and equipment across the width of the country quickly. I agree. Adds in some infrastructure for us. Alright, and now we have to figure out what the fuck we're doing here since our resistance is kind of pocketed here. We are going to try to quickly clear off all of this. It was one of our goals anyway to get over here and clear these ports from their control. So we're just going to go ahead and continue ahead with clearing out La Coruña and Vigo. And hopefully, God, yeah, we can't lose this port. That's the only thing. As long as we have a port, we can extract. It's no big deal. We're going to go ahead and get construction 1 started. 10% construction speed, 10% factory repair speed. Paranoia is really high, so we're going to do forge satisfactory production reports. This just gets everybody off our back for a minute. More of a band-aid than a long-term fix. Alright, now that we're clearing towards the west and trying to just clear this whole section of coast, it's actually going really well. They didn't have it fortified. So we're just going to keep running train over here until November 8th. We got about another month here helping out in Spain before we have to go and do a Poland thing. We're already substantiating war against Czechoslovakia. So that is well on its way. As soon as we get the political power and finish substantiating our war against Poland, we'll also start substantiating against Austria. If we can prevent Anschluss, that is a huge step in nerfing the Nazis as hard as we can. We're going to update these orders to clear this whole region. And we're just going to let them do as much as we can before it's time for us to go to war. We need more than 100 factories to be able to continue with the 5-year plan. That's fine. We're looking through, seeing what all we got. Yeah, actually, strengthen the mobilization plan. Our biggest military advantage has always been the vastness of our country and the amount of people living in it. Agreed. But when it comes to getting soldiers to the front, these two things can work against each other. We have to continuously improve and update our mobilization plans to ensure that in the event of a war, we can concentrate our forces quickly. It modifies the Red Army by giving it a +5 mobilization speed and 3% recruitable factor. Both of these are super useful traits, especially ahead of this war, so it should finish up just in time to be useful in beating Poland. And yeah, we're kind of kicking ass now that we cleared out this acorn. This is what I'm talking about. It's not just a sliver of resistance. We have 2 ports behind us. We're clearing this area out bit by bit, and we're just going to work our way all the way across. It's October 31st, 1 week remaining, helping out the Spanish before we go fight the Polish. I don't have voice mod or anything, so I'm just making noises with my mouth. Let's lower the intensity of this camera stop so my head isn't so reflective. Thank you for checking out 3 Addict Network. Drop us a follow. Follow us on Discord as well. We're putting together some fun stuff here. Way more cool stuff coming in the future. We're stoked for what we do. Stoked for the opportunity to work with so many great streamers and put together such a cool concept. Alright, so we are ready to declare war. So what we're going to do is just verify we are all shored up with our Air Force, get them invading Eastern Poland. We're going to designate air superiority, close air support, and interception. We're not going to utilize our bombers here because, you know, the goal is to occupy this land, and anything that we destroy on our way in is going to be repaired by us immediately after. So it's better to just save the factory time. So we're going to go ahead and declare war. Wait. It's the same song been playing the whole fucking time. I'm so sorry, everybody. Jesus Christ. Alright, so we have declared war on Poland, finally. We have our Air Force in place. They should be doing their thing. We're going to go ahead and tell everybody to aggressively execute their battle plans. People won't wait for each other. If there's an open territory, they'll just go. Excuse me. Alright, and we're at war. You can see all of these are individual battles occurring. These lines are the actual movement of troops into that territory. The main place to watch is where our spearhead is down here with all the armor and specialty units. They're clearing through their assignment quickly. And once they break the line here, I am hoping that the Polish soldiers will not be able to move to stop that bulge, and they will quickly spread throughout the region. So we're going to keep these battle lines adjusted as we go. We have a lot of stuff to tick off though. You have a war panel here. It shows how the war is going. Here's the general balance bar for it, and then here are the individual stats for the countries involved. This is indicating that those volunteer forces that I had in Spain are on their way back. We have air wings with no assignment. It's fine. It's our bombers. We're trying to avoid bombing in this case. We need to get our political intrigue down. We're going to do inspections in the administration. That'll buy us some time. We need to add these guys to our army. Since there's only one more, I'm not going to start another army yet until we're closer to something like 12. We're going to update our light tank here to light tank 2. Ignore that until we get more units to organize. And then for our science, the year is still 1936, so we're making really good time so far. We will, in the long run, certainly want signal company. It's super helpful. For now, though, we're going to update our artillery since our infantry is already actively equipped with artillery. It's a useful thing to do. We also want to go ahead and research our post-Great War tactical bomber, because there's no use in making it if it's still Great War tech. Alright, and now we're going to go back to watching what's happening here. We broke through our first battle with our spearhead, and you can see we have a tank going through unimpeded, and hopefully this just happens continuously now, is they move up, they take their location, and they can move on to the next spot before yeah, and we're just going to keep adjusting this line so that it does stay as a proper spearhead. Oh no. I did something wrong there. Yeah, I adjusted the wrong line, it appears. Oh well. No big deal. Awesome. Advisor accused of treason. Acting on an anonymous tip-off, the NKVD has arrested Soviet Union on charges of espionage, sabotage, and conspiracy against the state. Strange. While the man continues to declare his innocence, investigators are certain that they can build a case against him within a few more weeks. Either he will crack under interrogation, or sufficient evidence can be gathered from people around him who are willing to testify about his crimes. In any event, the penalty for these charges must surely be death or a life of hard labor. Thank you so much for the follow, D Johnson 2002 DJ. We appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, we're gonna kill this communist theorist. Fuck it. He's gone. You gotta keep Yosef happy. And on that note, since we don't have enough factories to start the next plan yet, what are we building? Yeah, factories. Okay. We are going to focus on the purge. Get this bad boy going. This will kick off the first round of purges out of 3 or 4. And the fun don't stop. And we're actually just going to assign all of this spearhead unit a single attack command all the way to Warsaw, and hopefully that will help them just plow through, because this is why we have a giant line of infantry behind them, is to kind of fill in those gaps as they progress and stop their extraction direction from being closed. So what's going on through the rest of the line? We're making progress all the way up and down it. The Poles are usually a bit of a pushover. Occasionally they'll get their shit figured out when you least expect it. But for the most part, this should be a pretty quick exchange. And once the tanks like clear through, they should be able to quickly enough just like continue running. Yeah, sorry I had y'all listening to the same hype track for a while. Good question, Lublin 84. For certain specialty types of units and stuff, you can start to get into some weird unit width numbers. You can even get into like decimal numbers. Only to the tenths, but So if you are finding that it's only giving you intervals of 2, um, then that is probably something to do with the inherent size, are the makeup of the units that you're putting on. You know, artillery versus infantry versus armored. Um, but I'm not quite positive. I would just tinker with it and see what combination in your columns and rows gets you there, because sometimes just playing with it in terms of that sheer layout can do a lot for you. So we've hit a little bit of resistance. My head of the spear is not working anywhere near as well as I'd hoped it would. We're going to kind of refocus it. We're going to bring it down here. And we're going to give it the same orders as before, though, but see if we can get everybody on the same page and just to a different point that's not experiencing quite as much resistance. Let's see, what else we got here? What are people saying in chat? Yeah, whenever I scroll through chat, you just get to watch, like, the globe spin around in circles. You should make a giant ship in this game to rival the Bismarck and name it the Red Menace and put twice as many guns on it. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm down. As soon as I get a naval score that gives me enough to adjust it, I will do it. Why is my supply chain so atrocious? Let's see what we got going on here. Is my supply chain so atrocious? Let's see here. So my rail supplying seems all right. Yeah, okay, we have one there. In terms of my production, we're still just new enough in the game. I'm producing new military factories right now off the top. That'll go faster once I finish taking Poland, because they have the extra civilian factories early in the game to kind of round out your civilian building potential. So yeah, for now, I am behind on infantry equipment and such, and that's because when I start, I opt to go ahead and make all of my cavalry into infantry, which puts me in an early hole for infantry equipment and artillery. Secure the administration. That's nice, but not necessary. The red symbols next to the divisions due to overstacking. Mayhaps, yeah, because right now our supply is sitting pretty. You can see up here our logistics numbers. So our logistics is doing all right for now. So yeah, I think these red bits are just a matter of their attrition being high. Probably being snow-covered, shitty Polish mountains. So yeah, I think that's more of a measurement of attrition than supply in this particular instance. It is worth a note, though, that I also am very low... Oh, no! I'm very low on tanks. So any of the tank units are quite likely actually suffering from a supply crunch of tanks themselves. It takes a minute to get all of the tanks that you need starting out as the Soviets, because they are not a very tank-rich... You could say they're quite tankless to start. It's a tankless culture. Alright, let's pick another national focus. I'll pause the game so we don't miss any fun battle stuff while that's going. What do we got? We don't have enough factories to continue the 5-year plan. I like boats. Let's expand the Red Fleet. The Red Fleet is pathetically weak, agreed, compared to the navies of the imperialist powers. We must make its expansion a national priority. This gives you 2 free naval dockyards. Let's actually just go ahead and check, too, in my production to make sure I'm not... Okay, everything is still going to Leningrad. Nothing has reset yet. Beautiful. We have just enough space to do a military commander, but usually the 50 political power military commanders are not super worthwhile anyway. So let's just keep this train moving. I got about another 30 minutes with y'all. Yeah, shout out to Remy Loner for making the awesome emoticon for me. He has been learning bit art like a madman and has already been developing some pretty sick skills in it. Super, super proud of that guy. Oh god, it's an army of me. I am sad that I shaved my beard about as soon as you made it, rendering it a touch obsolete. Now I'm just rocking the mustache, but the beard will be back. The beard will return. Oh god, there's so many of me. This is how the world ends. Come on, let's break through. I didn't mean for this war to take so long. How many lives have I lost? 48, 46k? That's not horrible. Let's see, who did we encapsulate? Ah, so we just took out 7 units in a encapsulation bubble. They gone. Thanks so much for watching 3 Attic Network, everybody. I appreciate y'all. Hope all the holidays are going well. Hope all of your dreams are coming true. I bought 3 lottery tickets today, and the pot's pretty big right now. If I win the lottery, we'll be doing some pretty sick giveaways. So everybody cross their fingers for that. I don't even know what yet. If I win the lottery, I'll drop 100k on PS5s and give them away on stream. How about that? PS5s, Oculus Rifts, and then just like outright graphics cards. Just buying nice graphics cards, since we know that is what the gamers in your life really want the most this Christmas. CPUs and graphics cards. Goodness. All right. These guys will go ahead and lap in with them. And it's another national focus time. Yes, we can finally continue the 5-year plan. Or finish the 5-year plan. The second 5-year plan prioritizes the development of heavy industry. The Soviet Union must develop quickly in order to match the capitalist and fascist powers of the West. And it gives us a ton of good shit. I'm not even gonna read it all. You can just look at that and see all of the pretty green and yellow. So we can get that going. And then we get to pick an air doctrine. I tend to focus on strategic support and operational integrity. Because strategic destruction, since I like to maintain control of the places I take, just causes too much damage and wastes too many resources to rebuild. So we're going to do formation flying. By flying in formation, planes can provide support to each other or work together to attack enemies, mutually exclusive, with force rotation and air superiority. So we're going to go down that line. And Poland is almost kaput, guys. The plan didn't work as well as I had hoped, but they are still kind of at a loss here. I kind of expected our spearhead, our armor to break through first, and instead the infantry just kind of sopped it all up. Said, tanks? We don't need no stinking tanks. Let's see, do we have another doctrine available? We do! I didn't even realize. Alright, so we're going to do pocket defense. It is possible that, on the defensive, our troops may be caught in a pocket. If in this case, they must merely hold out until the inevitable counterattack relieves them. Very good. We have free naval yards, and we're just going to focus on finishing out all of the naval bits that we already have in production before we put any more in. We have only lost 60k to their 200k, so this is a pretty successful war. I've had better against Poland, but I'm not gonna be mad about this. Hopefully they have a lot more equipment in surplus than they do in the field. Whenever you defeat a nation, you get half of their surplus. But if it's all deployed with units, then that means you're kind of shit out of luck. They're holding out hard for Warsaw. One lone unit there, but they are almost done. Warsaw will be ours! Alright, fall of Warsaw. Unlike 1920, there was no miracle at the Vistula when Soviet armies recently approached Warsaw. Polish resistance in the city was largely collapsed, and the Soviet flag can be seen raised over most government buildings. Bingo! Where was I? Poland has capitulated. Poland has announced its total surrender to the Soviet Union. The Soviet forces, along with a number of independent Polish communist supporters, have forced Ignacy Mościcki and his government into exile as a new government has been established to rule Poland in cooperation with the Soviet Union. Joseph Stalin has remarked that this mutual agreement will bring a new age of prosperity and cooperation to Poland. Not. Ignacy Mościcki responded by stating that even in exile, he shall continue to fight for Poland and support all resistance efforts in the homeland. Very good. No one cares. There we go. Poland has capitulated. Yes, gave us a nice healthy surplus of infantry equipment and a few trains. That's nice. That's nice. We did all the heavy lifting, so we're literally just going to take all states. That's ours. In turn. That's how you take a nation, everybody. How you like the new fit? Let's see what our justify war goal is sitting at here. Awesome. That brought the cost down. Now that wasn't justifying against two nations. Now we're going to throw in these new military factories into good use. Make more infantry equipment. Let's move this new infantry unit into Infantry Army 1. Oh no, and all of the good work we were doing in Spain seems to have been largely to no avail. So, we're going to go ahead and prepare for our next war. We're going to go ahead and slot in our two army groups. Here, we're going to put our spearhead army group right here on this tiny little border. And we're going to assign them to just go straight for the west to take Prague and Brno. Then, the rest of our infantry army, we're going to assign to just take the entire damn thing. This is how we do it. Alright, so they are ready to go. Let's go ahead and get our Air Force positioned. Let's see, we're sitting at 900 planes, so this will do. Awesome, and it's worth a note that since we have a new territory, it's good to go ahead and set your priority for your garrisons to high, because as you can see, we need a lot of equipment in garrisons. So set that to high, and then after that, all of our other priorities look good. We're going to set upgrades to low as long as we are still working on rounding out our actual army and getting equipment back in the hands of soldiers already out in the field. And we're going to go ahead and tell these guys to attack this region. Go ahead and apply more ground control troops so that we're ready to go when it is time. And let's figure out when this war is supposed to start. July 10th, so we've already made really good progress towards the date. Gives us a little bit of time to help out Republican Spain in the meantime. So we're going to send volunteers. We're going to send Rakovsky just as last time. Alright, so he is on his way there. Let's see how our supplies are doing. So we're still 40,000 infantry equipment short overall. Most of that is for reinforcements. Well, now it's about half reinforcements and half new deployments, so that's pretty healthy. Light tanks we're still in desperate need of. We went through a lot of tanks in that last war. Construction-wise, we got 7 civilian factories from taking Poland, which is going to be super helpful. We're clearing through this very necessary military factory buildup. We're going to go ahead and drag our repairs to the top here to knock those out. It both improves the happiness of people in that occupied sector, and just gets it off the list. It takes almost no time. And you can see here on the resistance map that there's like very light resistance, but it is not that much. I'm surprised there's more resistance in the east of Poland than in the west around Warsaw, because generally resistance originates from the capital. We have a research point. Let's see what we got going. It's 37 now. Most of the time you get your next layer of stuff on the even numbers or every 3 years. So with it being 1937, we want to go ahead and get mechanical computing going because it just raises our across-the-board research speed, and that can help us catch up in the couple of places that we haven't started to really affect yet. Okay, so I think all of this is good. We have our volunteer units down here in Republican Spain, and we're going to have the exact same war goal as we did last time, clearing this. All of the good work we did in clearing out this space has been kind of reverted, but that's fine. We're going to clear off this strip, and hopefully by doing so, we will have completely taken all ports from the fascists. Therefore, the Nazis can no longer resupply them. That is our aim here. But everybody in chat, I hope y'all are having a great day. Tell me what's good. Tell me if you have any questions. Backseating is certainly allowed. If you know the game, if you think I'm doing something funny, let me know. If you think I'm an idiot, let me know. A lot of days I think I'm an idiot. Thanks, Carput. Thanks for keeping me in check. Yeah, the emoji is what's good. Remy Loner on the custom emotes game. Love them for it. We've got our 3 units of tanks, 3 units of Alpine Special Forces heading to the mountains outside of Bilbao with the hopes of liberating Spain from the grips of the Franco-fascists. As it stands, Republican Spain, headed by the communists, socialists, and anarchists, are holding both Madrid and Barcelona, but this is a tentative little string right here that's allowing this acorn of resistance to maintain. Right now, though, it is definitely leaning in the direction of the fascists. Uh-oh. Water time? Is that... Water! He didn't pay for it, but I don't give a shit. I'm here for it. Give me my agua. Alright guys, what you doing? Oh, I didn't give you actual orders. You're just gonna clear off all the way to here. And hopefully they make pretty quick work. Let's set their priorities to high. I'm not worried about their resupply because we have a war coming up relatively quickly. I'm more concerned about clearing as much territory as quickly as I can. Because like I said, we really want Republican Spain to win here. It makes a huge difference later on down the road to have them fighting in our corner. 2 more units. We're going to add it to army number 1. We can upgrade our military tactics, but I want to save the political power for now. Let's figure out what we're researching. Let's go ahead and get radio detection going. That's a 1936 technology. We're in April of 37. Do not want to fall behind in your general tech. Alright, 3rd 5-year plan. Let's get this going and clear through as much of it as we can before we have our first war against a major power, and therefore lock out that tree from our access forever. We're back in Spain, though! Let's go! And yeah, we got here and immediately started slicing through these Spanish forces like butter. So that was a notification that I was bringing revolution to Austria. We have a much longer time to wait for that war to unfold. How's our line looking? Our line is fine. We're moving right along pretty quickly as well, if I do say so myself. Awesome. Look at them go. They're moving so fast that I'm struggling. Yeah, where'd your line go, bud? Is it all just right there? Alright, let's cancel your orders. Let's just set you right there. Now we're going to assign you to clear the coast. And to go. ASMR hydration. If that is what the people want, I'm happy to provide it. I am thirsty as hell. I don't know why we're insisting on moving past Bilboa to start. What we got? Simeon Budiani accused Nikolay Vatutin. A report has reached Army High Command. In that report, Samian B alleges very grave derelictions of duty by his fellow General Nicky V. According to Simeon B, Nicky V has conspired with foreign and reactionary elements to pass information to foreign intelligence. He further notes that the multitude of training accidents that have happened under Nicky V's command, alleging that these were in fact acts of sabotage by the deceitful general and his co-conspirators in the army. Said co-conspirators have substantiated the allegations after extensive interrogation. Oh, Nicky V. Is it time? Is it time? Do you need to die, bud? He's a high-ranking general. I think it's time. Nicky V has to die. He's gone. Let's go ahead and next man up him. We're getting Boris Shepashnikov. Okay. Not bad. Our PP is pretty small. We have small PP. I've only got about 15 minutes left with y'all, man. Time flies when you're playing games you like. I swear. Let's go ahead and relieve them of Bilbao ASAP. Like I said, taking away the ports are just so crucial to stopping them from fascist resupply, because the Nazis and the Italians will both show material support, and we don't want that. Alright, we got Bilbao, no problem. We're moving right along the coast. Perfect. We're getting close to reconnecting this pocket of resistance outside of Vito. Let's clean up our line here. The more spread out they are, the more ineffective they are. The Hindenburg disaster. The German passenger airship Hindenburg was destroyed today while attempting to dock at the Lakehurst Naval Air Station in the United States. For reasons not yet determined, the airship was engulfed in flames and crashed to the ground, claiming 35 lives. Due to the scarcity and expense of helium and the U.S. ban on exporting it, the Hindenburg, like all German passenger airships, was ultimately engineered to use hydrogen, which provides greater lift but is also flammable. With public faith shaken by this disaster and the rise of much faster passenger aircraft, this could spell the end of the era of airships. Yep. It really did. It really did. Who knows what steampunk utopia we could be living in now if not for it. Oh, the huge manatee! Alright, and we are just clearing through some fascist territory, people. You love to see it. Fuck the fascists. Take them out. My lines are getting messy, a little bit long here. Let's bring it back in, boys. Although it's surprising how effective they are even just one-on-oneing with these fascist troops. Alright, so we have cleared another nice section. We're going to clear away their current orders. We're going to give them new orders. We're going to establish them right here, that one little point, and then we're going to tell them to clear all the way to here. Let's do it. Organization staying high, supplies staying high. You can see them indicated here with these meters on the side. Yeah, and I'm hoping as soon as we take out this first spot of resistance, we can kind of roll up the line that's distracted over here otherwise. We're still holding Madrid. We're still holding Barcelona. And yeah, they officially have no more ports. So hopefully now, due to their lack of resupply, the whole force will start rolling up a little bit easier. We have enough to make a change to the government. Not enough for an advisor yet. Do have enough for military staff. Let's get army regrouping. Helps experience gain and division recovery rate. Alright, what's happening? My lines are being goofy. Yeah, let's bring that back up there. Let's focus on the objective. We don't need to be taking this land south. We need to make sure that once I leave, this whole region isn't just immediately reconsumed. If we can keep them off the coast and keep them from resupply, they should shrivel and die on the vine. Actually, let's do a little divergence here and surround them. Conspiracy amongst civil servants. The NKVD has discovered evidence of a large-scale conspiracy inside the civilian administration. It appears that some bureaucrats in the State Planning Committee have gotten very cozy with some factory managers and have adjusted the production numbers in the 5-year plan downwards. This, according to the NKVD, is clear evidence of anti-Soviet sabotage and deliberate weakening of the Soviet system. The arrested conspirators are quickly revealing further members of the conspiracy while under investigation. If we choose to hurt them, it'll hurt our political power gain and construction speed. But it'll decrease our political paranoia. What's our political paranoia sitting at? Yeah, we gotta do it. 30% political paranoia, things are starting to get a little spooky. We are going to implement close air support because we don't have any options for that yet. I have 12 minutes left with you guys. Seems unreal. Seems like just 15 minutes ago we were starting this journey to free the planet from the capitalist dogs. And we're gonna see if we can encapsulate these guys in a clean movement here, and it looks like we're going to be able to pull this off. Awesome! That's how you do it, folks. Alright, so now that we have closed them up, we are just going to roll them out. Finish them off right. It's time for a new national focus. We don't have enough factories. Continue those. We will get the increased state reserves. Our growing industry hungers for more and more resources. We cannot always ensure on the growth in resource production keeps pace and must build up reserves where we can. Agreed. That's just smart economic policy. We're going to pop this free unit. Uh-oh, wrong one. Into an army. Amelia Earhart circumnavigates globe. The famous aviator Amelia Earhart, known to many as the Queen of the Air, has completed a flight around the world together with her navigator Fred Noonan. After a brief scare when the pair temporarily got lost while approaching Howland Island in the Pacific, the flight proceeded without incident, and this morning their Lockheed Electra touched down in Oakland, California. A ceremony is being held in the White House next week, where Earhart is to be personally congratulated for her feat by the president. So I'm a little confused. I don't know if that means that she survived the flight that killed her. Because that does happen in this game where she will survive and it gives America a special buff. It seems like that may very well be what just happened. Yeah, we're going to just finish closing out all of these guys. And hopefully here very soon... Ah, there it is! I knew it. I knew that that war justification was close by. Alright, so we'll finish closing out this little bubble here. And then we're going to go to war with Czechoslovakia. And hopefully clear them out just in time to finish up here and pass it along to a Remy Loner. Oh, sing mode has been redeemed. My apologies. Okay, let's see what we can do. We are ready for war, and war it shall be. It's your own damn fault, you have to hear me sing. Army set, time to go. Where is my Air Force? Okay. We are going to do some bombing this time. I have the industrial capacity to fix it. Time for war. Time for war. War it is, war it is, war it is. We're going. Now my Spanish troops must come home to help in the home battlefront. Austria hasn't been anschlossed. Aggressive execution tactics help. Let's fucking go! The German-Soviet treaty, despite harsh previous rhetoric against both the people and the ideological leadership of the Soviet Union, Adolf Hitler and Germany, has now reached out to us, requesting a mutually beneficial research treaty. While exchanging knowledge would help our efforts to develop new tank designs, along with their promises of other research benefits in our future. There is little doubt, considering previous statements, that the Germans are doing this for their own sake. Should we go forward with the agreement, despite the risk of aiding Adolf Hitler's ambitions? We won't give the fascists the weapons to crush the proletariat. Back to the war! They're showing strong signs of resistance. Shaanxi joined the Chinese United Front. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to say, I can do this all day to none of our enjoyment. The Chinese United Front forms. Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong have issued a joint announcement declaring that they have set aside their differences in the face of Japanese attacks. Both sides will observe a strict policy of non-aggression against each other for as long as the war against Japan lasts, and have vowed to do everything in their power to throw back the invader. A number of smaller warlords have also declared their support, putting their forces under the command of Chiang Kai-shek. Whether the longtime enemies of the Chinese Civil War will actually work together remains to be seen, and many experts believe that this will do little more than delay the inevitable defeat of China. An unstable alliance. Alright, we're going to keep this fast forwarding. Everybody joins it. That's all these just say different people are joining the Chinese United Front. Oh god. Excuse me. We are looking for the spearhead to break through right here, and as soon as they do, I'm really hoping they just like tear ass through Western Czechoslovakia. I would really like to finish this war before I have to get off of here with y'all. Alright. I'm testing the supply chain as Dutch East Indies, and I'm suffering attrition in certain ports. Let's slow this down for a second while I read this. I have enough convoys. Should I upgrade ports to remedy my supply situation? Yes, that could very well be the main reason. So if you have a bottleneck occurring at your port itself where there are just more units there than the port can supply, then yes, it will definitely cause issues. You should also make sure, especially in a lot of these island countries, that after upgrading your ports, you don't have another bottleneck occurring at your infrastructure or railroads beyond that. But yeah, for islands, upgrading ports is crucial, and constructing entire new ports could be a good option for you as well. So just looking at this massive board, I don't think. Okay, yeah, let's just keep our 5-year plan moving along here. Focus on heavy industry or armaments. Let's shift to armaments. Actually, nah, but it takes away it takes 5% off of off of civilian factory construction speed. Yeah, no, let's reorganize the PC of heavy industry. That'll give us a nice passive buff that won't nerf anything. That is preferable. We also have a new doctrine available. Defense in depth. Go ahead and get that popping, and it looks like we may actually be able to win this war in the next 3 minutes. Because we are breaking free, and once you're seeing runaways like this where our units are just getting ahead of their lines and we're just running, then you are really golden. You'll just be able to, in no time, just run around their troops. They'll be defending a piece of land that is otherwise useless to them. Yep, we are just running train on Western Czechoslovakia. I guess the Czech Republic, soon to be. Slovakia is showing a little bit more resistance through the mountains. That's totally normal. And yeah, guys, we are clearing through fast. I'm going to go ahead and set it to the top speed setting. Let's get these spare units put into Army 1. Yeah, so we're just consuming Eastern, and then that'll give us the opportunity to run back after we've completely cleared it out and close out this side just in time for me to finish stream! I love it when a plan comes together. We have Remy Loner next. I'm super stoked for what he has to offer. He's been playing RimWorld lately, so I think he's going to get a little bit of that in, and I think you may hear my non-singing voice on stream with him if he decides to play some Don't Starve after. Czechoslovakia has capitulated. Czechoslovakia has announced its total surrender to the Soviet Union. The Soviet forces, along with a number of independent Czechoslovakian communist supporters, have forced Edvard Beneš, and his government into exile as a new government has been established to rule Czechoslovakia in cooperation with the Soviet Union. Joseph Stalin has remarked that this mutual agreement will bring a new age of prosperity and cooperation to Czechoslovakia. Edvard Beneš responded by stating that even in exile, he shall continue to fight for Czechoslovakia and support all resistance efforts in his homeland. Yeah, likely story. Go retire somewhere nice in America and just like chill. You're good. Awesome. So great timing, guys. We have a great games going so far. We've completely taken Poland as the USSR. We've also completely taken Czechoslovakia, two huge building blocks that the German Reich had to have in history to create a war machine that was so capable of bulldozing France overnight and holding Europe as a continent for 4 years. We have gotten great work done in Spain. Carput put DST on his comp. Yes. Let's see, before we go, where's the United States? We have converted the United States population to 31% communists, which is a great pace for us to very comfortably convert them to communists before their involvement with the Allies. We've helped the Spanish Civil War move along to such a degree that we are seeing a complete retreat in fascist forces, so the anarchists will win. And I wish so bad history had worked out that way, both because Franco was a terrible dictator for the Spanish people, and they are still in some ways recovering from his historical legacy. But also because it would have been the first and only functioning anarchist government that the world had ever seen. And maybe for another stream we can have the fun of going through exactly what an anarchist government looks like, but not for today. This game saves automatically while it's in Iron Man mode, so we're just gonna go ahead and go back to the control room. Here I am. And exit game. Guys, thank you so much. I'm actually really excited. I had some people chatting with us. Shout out to Lovelandcan84 for your questions. You're one of the first people that have watched me stream and engaged at all with the content. For Hearts of Iron, I really appreciate it. To everybody else who's popped in and out, thank you so much for being here. Drop us a follow. Feel free to follow my own personal channel, King Geekra, as well. I do a lot of things like Hearts of Iron, Don't Starve Together, Minecraft, Civ 5. I tend to like God games. I think I have some double music going. Let's fix that. Awesome. All right. Yeah, but thank you all so much. We opened the day with a Mary Mitch reading to us, finishing out the Ash Girl and the fish. It was one of the crazier rides I've been on with him. Check out Mary Mitch. He opens us up every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I just finished up from 2 to 4. Next up, we have Remy Loner, who I'm sure I have been keeping waiting. We're going to go ahead and get set up for him. I am mad stoked to see whatever he does. As I was just saying a minute ago, he could be doing RimWorld, he could be doing Oxygen Not Included, he could be doing Don't Starve, but you might be able to see a trend arise in the kind of games that he tends to enjoy. 3-Attic Network is put on by 3-Attic Entertainment. We're a multimedia provisions company, multimedia production company here in Central North Carolina. We do music videos, live streams, local advertisements, anything you need, and we work with people across budgets. So call and let us know what you need as a small business or a local artist, and we are happy to help. So I have Remy Loner all queued up and ready to go. You may be hearing my voice later on in his stream. He's doing a 4-hour power block. Shout out to our boy, making emotes, making little pixel art of me, doing 4 hours on the stream. Gotta love this man. Hardest working man in showbiz. So, give me 1 second here to change this title to queue them up right. And to not confuse anybody who hops on looking for Hoi 4 and instead finds RimWorld. Awesome. We're good to go. Thanks so much, everybody. Check out Rimmy Loner. I'll see you soon on the other side.